in the Canadian Rockies stands a majestic castle where time and tragedy intertwine. A bride who never left her wedding, a bellman who never left his post, and a room sealed to hide unspeakable horrors. Welcome to the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, Canada's most haunted destination. High in the snow-laden peaks of Alberta, Banff National Park rises a sprawling stone fortress with pointed turrets and arched windows. This is the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, a building so beautiful that visitors call it the Castle of the Rockies. Built in 1888 by the Canadian Pacific Railway, the hotel was meant to be a shining jewel of luxury, a place where wealthy travelers could experience the grandeur of the Canadian wilderness. But even as it welcomed its first guests, strange stories began to circulate. Over the years, its polished halls became more than a luxury retreat. They became a stage for some of Canada's most enduring ghost stories. The bride who never left the most famous legend begins in the 1920s. A young woman, radiant and nervous, prepared to walk down the grand marble staircase to meet her groom. Some say her long silk veil brushed against an open flame from a candle. Others whisper of a jealous rival, a shove, a scream. In any case, the bride panicked, stumbled, and fell to her death before she could say "I do." Since that day, countless guests have reported seeing her, a pale woman in a flowing white dress gliding across the ballroom or descending the staircase, only to vanish before reaching the bottom. Staff have found rose petals scattered on empty floors, faint violin music echoing in the dead of night, and cold spots where the temperature drops without reason. Locals call her the doomed bride. For some, she's a tragic romantic figure. For others, she's a warning, a sign that the past never truly dies at Banff Springs. Sam the bellman, another spirit, is less tragic and more helpful. His name was Sam McCauley, a longtime bellman who worked at the hotel for decades until his death in the 1970s. But Sam, it seems, refused to retire. Guests often recount how an elderly bellman in an old-fashioned uniform appears to help with their luggage, unlocks stubborn doors, or calls the elevator. When they turn to thank him, he's gone. Some even describe feeling a reassuring pat on the shoulder before a jammed key turns smoothly in the lock. Staff jokingly say, if something works when it shouldn't, that's Sam lending a hand. Sam may be the friendliest ghost in Canada, a man so devoted to service that even death couldn't keep him from his shift. The mystery of room 873. The hotel's most chilling mystery is room 873. Ask at the front desk, and they'll tell you no such room exists. But walk down the 8th floor corridor and you'll see a suspicious gap between rooms where the door should be. Look closely and you can see the faint outline of a sealed doorway beneath the wallpaper. Legend holds that decades ago, a man murdered his wife and daughter in that room before taking his own life. Guests who stayed there afterward reported bloodstains reappearing on the walls, ghostly screams at night, and tiny handprints appearing on mirrors. After repeated complaints, the hotel permanently sealed the room. Yet, even today, visitors claim to hear children's laughter and cries echoing down the hallway, or feel a small cold hand brush theirs as they pass the hidden door. Paranormal investigators who measured the area report sudden spikes in electromagnetic fields and unexplained temperature drops near the sealed entrance. Other shadows of the castle, the bride, the bellman, and room 873 are only the beginning. Guests speak of a headless bagpiper who once played for visiting royalty and now roams the corridors at night, his mournful tunes echoing through the halls. There are reports of gray, misty figures on the 3rd floor. flickering lights and empty stairwells, and a reading room where an elderly man sits with a newspaper that dissolves as soon as you approach. Housekeepers tell stories of beds made and unmade by invisible hands, of whispering voices heard through walls that no longer exist. Security cameras have caught orbs of light gliding across staircases and doors opening on their own. Some guests wake in the middle of the night feeling someone sitting on the edge of the bed, only to find the room empty. The paranormal investigators in recent years, the hotel has become a pilgrimage site for ghost hunters and paranormal researchers. Teams armed with infrared cameras, EMF meters, and voice recorders have spent long nights in the ballroom, the staircases, and near the sealed door of room 873. Many have captured strange sounds, faint music, disembodied whispers, or a woman's voice saying, "Help me." Others have recorded temperature drops from 21 degrees Celsius to 3 degrees Celsius in seconds. A well-known investigator once described feeling a tug on her coat at the top of the staircase. When she looked back, she saw a fleeting white figure. In the ballroom, another group captured a shadowy figure moving across the far end of the room. But when they turned on the lights, the space was empty. The living legend, yet despite its chilling legends, the Fairmont Banff Springs remains a thriving luxury resort. Weddings continue beneath its chandeliers and travelers sip cocktails by roaring fireplaces. Some guests book rooms, specifically hoping for a ghostly encounter. The hotel even offers guided ghost tours at night, leading visitors through the spots most famous for paranormal activity. The sound of the wind howling through the Rockies adds to the experience, making it feel as though the mountains themselves are alive. Locals insist the spirits aren't malicious. They reap part of the hotel's soul. They're like permanent guests, one former staff member said. But skeptics warn that something darker lurks here. A few guests have checked out early after nights of whispered voices, icy hands brushing their arms, or seeing a woman in white staring at them from the end of the bed. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel isn't just a building, it's a living legend where time has blurred, where the living and the dead share the same corridors. A bride still rehearses her first dance, a bellman still carries luggage, a sealed room still echoes with cries from the past, and all of it sits hidden in the snow and silence of the Canadian Rockies, waiting for its next guest.